Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, y'all? What's up, video land? That's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. That's everybody. Personal page, business page. This stuff is everywhere, y'all. I am finishing up. This is Nikki Smith, Knowledge by Nikki, your girl, with 1K. I know y'all still don't get that right. But I have been talking to you all week about this wonderful book. You see that? It is called On Managing Yourself. I've had you all literally watching me like all week. I see some of the same names on. I got a bunch of stuff up here I'm streaming. And I say all the time, guys, I'm a coach. My coaching group is called Aspire. It stands for Ambitious Salon Professionals Investing in Real Entrepreneurship. And this particular group was formed or was created so that I could basically be able to help people develop their businesses. It was literally, let me see, some of you all saying that no video. I don't know what that means. Okay. It was basically created so that I can help people strategize, help people be able to just figure out how to restructure, how to start. You know, some of us just want to start, right? We want to not do what everybody else has done. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today is the measuring stick. You know, who do you measure your life against, right? So in coaching, what I have even learned, guys, and for those of you all that want to coach or want to mentor or whatever you want to call it, you have to realize that is an awesome responsibility when you say that now I'm going to help you navigate through your life and I'm going to help you figure out how to get it right. And one thing that I have found that is absolutely crucial to being good at that is that you have to be able to manage yourself. Y'all see that? This is a book that's part of Harvard's Business Review's 10 must reads. I do have all 10 of them. They are really good. This is my favorite. It really isn't. Well, actually, it's my second favorite. Emotional intelligence is really my first favorite. But this is what I learned. I'm going to tell y'all, when you decide you're going to try to help other people, you got to get it together. Because it's nothing like being in a position where you're not doing what you're telling other people to do and you mess around and become exposed, become just outed. And now your whole business has been shut down because now people see you as a fake. They see you as a fake, right? And I will tell people everything that I talk about it because I live it. And I believe with everything in my soul, God has blessed me in a very short amount of time since I started doing social media and things like that, because what I talk about comes from a place that is genuine, that is real. I ain't get this out of no book, y'all. This is something that I really wholeheartedly have learned through either hard knocks or reading or something, okay? So I got a heater behind me, guys, and it is literally got me on fire. So let's talk about this book. I'm going to go through real quick. And for those of you all that want to know about the other videos and the stuff we talked about, I'm going to just run through the titles. But if you want to see these videos, you're going to have to join my app community. It's in the heading. You can just look at the videos back to back, y'all, like looking at Netflix, okay? So these are the things we've already talked about. We've already talked about the first one was you got to create a strategy for your life. All of you all out there, you know, I always talk. My tribe is entrepreneurs, so I'm always kind of talking with an entrepreneur agenda. If you got a business, just like you do for your business, you have to set a strategy, marketing strategy. You got to know what your brand is, know who your audience is, and you got to set out to figure out how we're going to get from point A to point C, right? In your life, you actually have to create a life strategy as well. And just like in business, you know, we have things put, as my friend says, there's a little glitch in the matrix and we got some things going on and we have to make adjustments, and it's no different. And you have to realize that certain mistakes, which I'm going to get to, can literally destroy your entire business and your life. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. But the first thing you want to do is create a strategy for your life. We talked about that 4, 5, 6 days ago, right? Second thing we talked about, so join the app community and you can watch the videos back to back. Next thing we talked about is allocating your resources. Your resources are your time, your money, your energy, your past relationships. We got real deep with that one, y'all, because a lot of us are wasting our resources, and time is the one thing you can't get back. So it's really your most valuable commodity. And most of us don't get that until we get older and we realize time ain't we got more time behind us than in front of us, and now we want to get serious, right? So let's try to allocate our resources better, not just time, but money, energy, relationships, all of that in this process, okay? Then next we talked about, oh, this is the one I went in on, y'all. This one was, I don't even know how long that video was. Creating a culture. I say it every day when I talk about this particular subject, which been for the last week now, I've been talking about this. You have a right. I'm going to get really close when I say this. You have a right. If you are the boss, if you pay the bills, if you are the HNIC, you have a right to decide how your culture will exist in your space, in your house, in your school, in your barbershop, in your beauty shop. I actually have personal trainers, in your gym, and I don't care what restaurant. I got restaurant owners now that I coach. In your restaurant, you decide how the culture is going to be lived out. Now, let me say this about a culture without going backwards and back into this. If you do not design or create a culture, it will create itself. Did y'all hear what I said? If you don't design it, it will be created by the personalities, good or bad, and the people and the things that exist in it. And now you wonder what happened because you didn't intentionally create it, manage it, protect it, all that good stuff. I don't want to hear y'all say no more to me. I have people coming to me all the time, asking me questions. Oh, I got this business and I got this person in there and they really causing havoc and sowing dissension and just cancer. And then turn around and ask me, what should I do? What do you mean, what should you do? I don't even understand the question, to be honest. But for some reason, we have gotten to the place that we feel like we don't have a choice. I don't get that. You got a choice. And sometimes even for the sake of losing a couple dollars or being in a position where maybe it's a little harder on you, maybe you now got to pick up the slack or you got to get somebody else pick up the slack because somebody got to do their job, depending on how much they're killing your culture, it is better to get rid of them before I have seen businesses killed completely out of business because they let cancerous people, bad cultures that start to destroy morale and start to just do all kind of stuff. They let it fester too long. I have seen it. So once you recognize it, you address it, you deal with that. I want to hear this. I don't want to have no conflict. Growth in life and growth in your business and strategies that have to be lived out in your business, in your home, are going to at some point have to deal with some conflict. I mean, you go at some point not agree with each other and you got to talk about it. You got to communicate about it, okay? But I went in on that the other day, so I ain't going to go in on that no more, right? Then we talked about, I kind of went in on this too, y'all. Avoid marginal mistakes. Keyword being marginal. It didn't say avoid mistakes because there's no way you get better avoiding mistakes. The only people who avoid mistakes is people who don't try nothing. You got to be willing to try some stuff, fail at it, fix it. Okay, I ain't going to do that no more. You got to be willing to do some stuff. Some of your best successes in life are the things that people now are like really giants in what it is that they do. They came from them messing up. It came from them making mistakes. They're like, oh, okay, it's a better way to do that. So you can't be scared. You can't be so fearful or overanalyzing stuff that you don't try stuff. But the key word is marginal mistakes. You don't have to go through everything. Some things you could watch other people and say, I'm not going to do that. Or I'm not going to do it like that. Okay? That's one of the reasons my group was even birthed, really, was to also help people who haven't made the mistakes kind of get out there and get their foot in and do it right. Then we talked about, yesterday, y'all. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, this was Sunday. This was Sunday breakfast, Sunday dinner, Sunday lunch. I talked about humility. And in my studying about not only what God says about humility, but how humility is really conveyed to the world, how it's actually put out into the world, how to actually recognize true humility. I think I studied it so in depth. I learned some stuff. Humility it's a lot deeper. It's a lot more than just, they so humble. They still the same person that they were 10 years. That doesn't mean anything, guys. It is a deeper understanding of yourself, of how you view the world, of how you handle the world. So y'all watch that video, okay? I ain't about to go through all that. I have 4 pages of notes, and for you all that join my community, every so often, I'm going to put the download to the notes up. You'll only get that if you join my community, which we're going to kick that off all next week. We're going to have all kind of little interesting stuff on there. You'll only get this stuff if you, it's free, y'all. Ain't no money involved. You join the community. We be sending you free stuff. The stuff you do have to pay for be cheap. You get cash back, rewards, all that good stuff, right? But this is for people who really want to continually learn, which is what we're going to talk about today. So that was humility yesterday. All right, last but not least, y'all, I had to really kind of think about this one for a minute, because there's some realities in what I'm about to talk about today that are just inevitable, that you're going to base your life off of these things. And then there's some things where we get a little off. Okay, so this one today is called choosing the right yardstick. Okay, that's right here in this book. And I'm going to read a little bit of this paragraph because it's a short one. And then I got a slew of notes I want to talk to you about. This guy that wrote this book, his name is Clayton M. Christrensen. He's talking about his life in here. He said, the past year, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I faced the possibility that my life would end sooner than I planned. Thankfully, it now looks like I'll be spared. And I don't know what year this book was written, so I don't know when this was. But the experience has given me a different and important insight into my life. I have a pretty clear idea about how my ideas have generated enormous revenues for companies that have used my research. I know I have been a substantial impact, and you want to know that. You want to know that you made a difference. Everybody needs that, right? But I've also confronted this disease. I confronted this disease. It's been interesting to see how unimportant impact is to me now. Listen to this. I've concluded that the metric by which God will assess my life isn't in dollars, but in the individual people's lives that I've touched. Are y'all with me? Now, I don't have to go into the rest because it's pretty simple. But what I want to say to you all is that the first thing I want to do, there's my girl Heidi. Heidi, put this up on the screen for me because I don't have the book with me. Simon Sinek wrote a book a really long time ago. And his name is spelled, well, Simon, S-I-M-O-N, but his last name is spelled S-I-N-E-K. And the book is called Find Your Why. And it's the thing that put him on the map. It is I think it's still in like the top New York Times bestsellers, and the book is old. He has 2 actually. Put that up for me, Heidi. It's called Find Your Why and Start with Why. I would really encourage everyone on all these screens I'm looking at to read both of those, because the problem with us trying to figure out who to measure, who do we look up to, who do we aspire to be like, do we imitate that, do we imitate this, do we take a little bit of that, all of us have to look, from kids on. You're looking at your parents, you're looking at your aunts, your uncles. Some of us didn't have parents, so who do you look at? It is impossible to believe that you're not going to try to measure up to something or somebody at different cycles of your life. We're humans. We have to draw our ideologies or the feedback and the things that we get. We have to draw it from somewhere. So the thing that this book is talking about is being careful as to who you measure your yardstick to. Because what I see happening, and it breaks my heart, guys, I see people that are measuring or attempting to measure their lives by things that aren't even who they are. But how do you know who you are unless you go into what I'm going to get into called search mode. So I want to help you all by reading. If you don't read, you need to start or get an audio book, do something. But start with why. Find your why. Those are by Simon Sinek. A lot of people have put the names on the screen. If y'all haven't read them, you need to. These were some of the best books I ever read in my soul-searching time of my life. The time of my life when I wanted to be clearer as to who am I really? They helped me hone, along with other things that I did, but they helped me hone my identity. They helped me figure out what I want to do and how that I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to do that. I would not do social media. Now, you all wouldn't know that now, but I refused to do social media for years because I had figured out that what I was about, what I considered my life to represent, was not what I saw in the social media platform. Now, I wasn't on it like some of y'all are, so I really wasn't even qualified to really make that decision because I hadn't even looked at it enough. But as God started helping me more and more go into search mode, that means when you're in search mode, guys, and you're trying to figure out who you are so you know what to measure it up to, you have to go up into pause mode. You have to go into mute mode sometimes. That means you have to go into spaces where it ain't a lot of noise, and I call it bringing the noise out. That means cutting the TV off sometimes. That means just going some places by yourself sometimes so you can think and you don't have the noise of demands. And, you know, as the movie calls it, you might have to go in your war room if you got one. You got to find a place in your life where you can go and think and process. Some people say it's the gym. Some people say it's the office. Some people say they go out. If you're in a nice climate, some people say they need to go outside and take a walk. I don't care where you go, but you got to have somewhere where you can get away from kids, you can get away from husbands, you can get away from work. You got to have somewhere that you can go and process these thoughts and start figuring out your identity. Because in a world that is constantly flooding us with images and things that we get so confused. Should I look like that? Should I aspire to do that? You got reality TV and you got influencers in social media and you got all this stuff. So as I was saying about social media, I was like, I ain't doing that, because I did figure out at that point what I thought it was about was not what I was about. Well, I realized that wasn't the case. Obviously, that's why you all see me here. But even when you learn about social media, you have to learn which platform is better suited for your brand. Your brand is your identity. Y'all get that? Your brand is who you are. That's who you are to the bone. If you all want to read stories about people, read Howard Schultz. That's the guy who started with Starbucks and how he got to that and what spearheaded him into that way of thinking. And it's just endless, guys. It is something that in order to start measuring yourself to the right yardstick, you gotta first know who you are. Or let me tell you what happened. I remember I did Bronner Brothers one year. Well, I do it every year. For those of y'all that may not know what that is, because everybody isn't in the beauty industry, Bronner Brothers is the largest black beauty trade show in the world. It's been going on over 70 years now. They might be on 71, 72, something like that, but it's been going on forever. I've been doing and working at the show since 97. That's how long I've been doing Bronners, guys, whether it was myself or with a company or something. So I remember about 3 or 4 years ago, and this is where I want to give you the example of how you can get it twisted. Bronner decided to bring all these influencers. These were people that, influencers meaning they had social media, crazy numbers, million followers, companies, and took them on, all of this. Bronner decided to go grab all them up, and they want to use them now as a marketing ploy for the show to get people in, because, y'all follow them and always on their pages. And I say y'all because I don't. Always on their pages and keeping up with what they do and the hairstyles and whatever they do. So this is what Bronner's marketing strategy was for this year. And let me tell you what I saw, which was really, really interesting. They gave them platforms that they typically give other people. So they gave them huge stage presence. They gave them classrooms where typically the classrooms are given to people who have been loyal to the show forever. And that was a disaster, but neither here nor there. What happened was they were charging these influencers. They were charging like $500, $600, $700 a head to get into this show. And Bronner obviously had negotiated how that was going to work. So people who would never have paid you or would never have paid me, no matter how good we are, what we do, $1 to come see us, scraped up their little money. And they paid all these influencers to go in and watch them now in person teach whatever it is that they see online. Let me tell y'all what I saw. I happened to be coming. I was doing my class in a section where they were. So I don't know if I was going in class or coming out. But all I know is that I was in the hallway when whoever it was, I think it was two people, two influencers in two different rooms that were right by each other. Obviously, people were not happy. Because what I could tell you that I saw was people were down there raising the roof, raising Cain, that they spent all this money to go to this class, and the class was garbage, and the person was rude. And I mean, I'm listening, and I'm just sitting here like, And let me tell you, after they got through, I'm talking cussing out and just going off on Bronner representatives. They want their money back, and woo, I mean, they just going in, right? And so I'm watching this. And I happened to see a girl that I know. So I felt comfortable enough. Y'all did have to learn this now, y'all, not to give unsolicited advice. But I saw a girl that I know, and I pulled her to the side because she want them out there going in on Bronner about she want her money back. And the first thing I asked her was, you watch them on Instagram, wherever they are, YouTube, wherever. You watch them from the other side of a screen. You don't know really who they are. You don't know anything else about their lives other than what they demonstrate to you. But yet you never, to my knowledge, paid for anybody's class. And that's what she was saying, is that I didn't spend all this money and I don't pay this kind of money for classes. And I asked her, and I wanted to take, I think she said something like, I wanted to take some tips from them. Anyway, what happened was these people had been admiring these influencers. This is the moral to this story. They had been admiring them, and they had used them as the yardstick that they wanted to measure their lives up against, because they see them in lights and they see them looking good and sounding good behind the screen, and they see all this stuff, and they're willing to spend their last pennies to actually go see them. But guess what? They were mad because they realized it ain't what it looks like. And they aren't the same people, all of them. Not some of them, not all of them. They aren't the same people on the other side of that screen as opposed to on that screen. And then I asked her this question. I said, who you mad at? You let yourself get bamboozled. You let yourself buy into the hype. You let yourself measure what you thought success looked like based off of nothing. No facts, no real information. No, so who you mad at? Be mad at yourself and realize that now going forward, because she was one I could be honest with. I couldn't say that to the rest of them. I probably would have got cussed out. But she was the one I could be honest with and say, you bought into the hype. You bought into the hype is what you did. You bought into this situation that you thought you were going to measure your life up to this person, and you realize it wasn't even nothing to measure up to. We live in a world that is constantly going on, and people are choosing the wrong yardstick. They choosing the wrong people to measure up to. They choose, and I'm talking about it breaks my heart, because okay, I can go on and on about that. But anyway, they didn't get their money back, and that was a disaster. And it went so bad, Bronner never did that again, and we back to normal now, okay? The one thing that I realized, and I'm going to get into this. Y'all see this, y'all? I'll be doing some real homework. Y'all see this? This like 4 or 5 pages. And I had to condense it so the video wouldn't be 5 hours long. But this is what I have learned. God saw fit. Who knew, y'all, that I was going to be teaching financial management? Man, y'all, I was the raggediest person when it came to money. It left my hand fast as it got in. I bought whatever I thought I was big and bad enough to buy. I was making it, but I had no idea how to manage it or keep it. So it was a cycle of events in my life that forced me to have to look at money differently. And I'm connecting this to what I'm about to tell you. What I learned when I got my way that, money is an intellectual experience. It's not actually about the money. When you start changing the way you see money. As Robert Kiyosaki says, the man who did Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the Cash Flow Quadrant, which are two of some of the best books you'll ever read, he said that when he started learning about money, he went to a class that had 3 words. It said, be, see, do. That means before you can see how money it needs to work and then do the work, you have to first become a different person. You have to now figure out how to be this person that literally does things differently, or you're not going to see it any different and you're not going to do any different. So I was in that mode. I didn't know it. I realized I had to be someone different. I couldn't still exist with these ideologies about money and how it should be lived and spent and all of this. And I still couldn't exist with this. I call it the vanity complex, that you want to look like something, but you don't actually want to be it. You want to wear red bottom shoes, but you want to be in debt up to your eyeballs. I had to become a different person in order for me to do my money differently. And that took years of reprogramming, coming from a family who spent money and who just did whatever. I had to become a different person for that to be sustainable. So it wasn't no crash course, y'all. It was something that I had to change everything. I had to change the idea. Listen to me when I say this, y'all. Y'all ain't gonna like it. But I had to change the ideology that I will ever own my home. That my home is my greatest asset. I had to change that because it isn't. Even when you pay your house off, you still gotta pay the county for taxes. And let me say this to you. Don't pay them taxes and see who owns it. The person that buy your house for taxes will become the person that owns it. I had to learn what a real asset, what a real liability was. And let me tell you something. And all the articles I studied, it talked about how we run from numbers. Every single one of us, y'all ain't got high. We run from numbers. Every single one of us. You know why we run from numbers? You know why we're poor managers? Because let me tell you something that I learned when I was in that cycle of getting my money right. What I learned was something changed in me across the board. When you start getting your money right, when you start literally doing your money differently and looking differently about money, it starts changing how you look at everything. Your personal life, how relationships. I got a statement now that I use. It's my quote. It says, change your money and change your life. And that is the truth. So let me tell you what all these articles talked about. And I realized it was a universal concept because none of the articles started differently. All of them talked about the metric of numbers and how as long as you run from numbers, you will run from the things that actually you need to measure your life against to change it. So listen to this. First of all, what is a metric? What is a metric? What is that? A metric is just a system of measurement. It's a system of knowing whether what you're doing actually works. This is something that you have to know and understand. It is a system of knowing if what I'm doing. I have to know every time I get on this feed, I literally have different metrics, different things that I have now bought into to let me know how many, what age, where they coming from, the conversion rate. Does it convert to this? Does it convert to that? I literally have to have things to know if it's working. Other than that, guess what happens? If this ain't working, then I am allocating one of my most precious resources, which is time, into something that ain't worth it. This is something that becomes key in doing this. So this is something that I have to make sure I understand. Is the metric working? Is it working? This is the one thing I want to talk to you. The first lesson in life that you want to start learning about metrics and how to look at them in terms of success for your life and what measure stick you should be measuring up to is we hate to admit to ourselves. We really do. We hate to admit to ourselves that we really are deficient in something. And let me tell you something. If you start getting your money right, your money makes you honest. It makes you honest whether you want it or not. Money makes you unable to hide anymore behind the fact that you raggedy in certain areas, okay? Progress is typically slower than we actually think. And it is much easier for most of us to lie to ourselves and think that we're better at stuff than we really are. If you don't measure, meaning you got to have yardsticks, guys. You got to have them. If you don't measure things, you will enjoy the feeling of fake progress. Meaning your progress ain't real because you don't even know really what it's doing. You didn't hype yourself up to think, yeah, girl, I got 1 million followers. Look, I got a good friend of mine that said something. She came up with this, I think she's going to use it for a class title, and it's called Followers Are Not Dollars. Y'all hear that? Just because you got 1 million followers does not mean that you are rich. Does not mean that these 1 million followers have been now converted into something that can really change your life. It can, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. So don't you all buy into the hype of thinking that certain metrics are just, okay, I just look at this, I'm in there. No, you got to have a real system to let you know, is this working? If it's not, then I'm allocating my time bad and I need to do something else because I need to do something that works. It goes on to say numbers, it's true, I've said this, are the things that force you to face reality. They are. Only numbers can show success and what they really are. Numbers are the one things that define success. It may be emotionally tough, but thankful we have a tool for measuring progress. Then it goes into, now that's getting your money right. This ain't that video, but we're going to get into that later too, like later next week. This is called vanity, metrics, and the fake definition of success. Y'all listen to this. Beside avoiding them all together, I mean, you just avoid metrics altogether. You avoid measuring if what you do working, which a lot of us, I've done it, a lot of us do. I don't run from it no more because I want to know because I don't want to waste my time. Here's another more or less emotional trap of defining and measuring success. Listen to this, y'all. When we start measuring success, where we at here? When we start measuring success, we all like to measure things that give us a feeling of fake progress and a feeling of success. We like to measure things that make us feel good and feel good about ourselves and how successful we are, even if they're not real. And it goes on to say one of the worst things you could do in terms of vanity metrics is measure your life up to looking rich. This is the main one, and I know a lot of us got this bad. We want to look rich, but don't actually want to be rich. We want to look like we got it going on, but don't actually want to take the time to get someone to help us and look at where our money is going and look at not just building it, not just acquiring it, but why can't we keep it? Why are we still robbing Peter to pay Paul? Why are we still borrowing money that we don't because we make it? Why are we doing that? I had a conversation with my video land, and it was around prom time. Prom time, which is a time that, hey, you don't love your kid no more than the next. But prom time, I think, is a very good depiction of vanity or fake metrics. I know people who cannot pay their mortgage, but literally will spend every dime, max out every credit card to now buy for children and then train kids to think that's okay too, because I didn't spend $5 or $6 grand that I did not have on prom for something I could not afford to then teach the child that this is what you do in life, okay? Because you're teaching them subliminally. And now after prom, yeah, they was pretty, they was beautiful. It was a moment, but it was a moment that was based off of being fake. It was a moment that is not real. I talked about this, I think last week, when I talked about the time that I never will forget when my mother, she was like, baby, it ain't gonna be a Christmas like normal this year, because I think my dad had lost his job, and it was one of the most valuable lessons my mother taught me. She said, we ain't doing all that, because my mother didn't believe in that. I'm not paying mortgages so that you can have a bunch of toys, because at the end of that, you got to have somewhere to live. And she didn't believe in that. She didn't believe in flexing just so things can look like something, and they're not really that way. I didn't grow up. I don't know how I got sidetracked, but I got back on track. But I didn't grow up like that. And I see so many of us, that is the way we live. We out here living off of money that ain't ours. Folks taking care of us and doing this, and we living like we got it going on, and we don't. Vanity metrics. This world exists and is literally ran off of vanity. How well you look, what you drive, and the thing is, I tell people, if you really got it like that, do you. I ain't got no problem with it, but I ain't talking to that group. I'm talking to the group. I do financial classes, and I'm going to give you an example. And I was a little nervous, y'all, when I first started doing this, because I said, these people going to cuss me out, get up, walk out this room. I didn't know how I was going to go. So I do these workshops. And look, this is my wealth money management cup, y'all. I do these workshops where people come in and they have to bring all this stuff, and I help them figure out from their net worth to, the profit and loss, to understanding how to do cash flow projections, to all this stuff, right? Where their money is, basically. So it takes about 8 hours, really more, but we get it done in 8 hours to do this. So the first time I did this in this class, it was all women. It's rare I have men in there because men really struggle with exposing that side of themselves to a woman. They just do. I've learned that too. I let everybody come in there, and I mean, these women sharp, y'all. They look good. They look good. Boy, do they look good. So when they all sat down, every single person in there had these designer bags. Every woman. And I'm looking at the bag. Hermes bag, Gucci bag. I don't know if they was knockoffs or not, but I'm looking at the bags. And some of them actually look real. Prada bag. And it's the first thing I said to them. I said, let me tell y'all something. Let's start here. If you do not have as much money in the bank as what that bag costs, that's the problem we got right now. Right now, and I ain't say double, I didn't say triple. I said just have as much as that bag costs. If that bag was $600-700, you gotta, and that's being really generous, y'all. Do you have $600-700 in the bank? Every single person in the bag, they all shrunk. And I said, I am not saying this to hurt you. This all in love here, because I done been there. I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm saying this to help you and to start changing the way you think. If you don't have that same $500 or $600 all the way up to, I think one bag was $2,400. It was a Yves Saint Laurent bag. If you don't have what that bag costs, just one, just that in the bank, you're fronting, and you need to stop. First thing we gonna do is I'm gonna work on how you think. I'm gonna work on how you think about money, because the only way you're gonna change the way you live is you're gonna have to quit fronting for people who just as broke as you. Okay? You're gonna have to stop doing that. You can still have a nice bag, and it ain't got to be $2,400, or say, you know what, if I want that bag, this is what I told them. I said, you can't afford that bag until you have minimally, you hear me? Minimally 10 times what that bag costs in the bank. And that's being generous. That means if you got a $2,400 bag, unless you got $24K in the bank, you can't afford it. Unless you got a piece of property that you can go and liquidate for $24,000, which ain't no money, you can't afford it. So after I had, and I don't mind being transparent, I was very happy to tell them about my days of living stupid, and I was doing the same stupid stuff. And after we got through that, everybody was cool, and we got them together. You hear me? So vanity metrics, which is what this world is based off of, it's gonna have you in trouble, and it's gonna have you living your whole life in fake. Okay, personal life. Let me go into that. A successful system of measuring progress and success, it presents a great challenge, and it really will give you and some incredible advantages in life when you start to do that. I'm trying to get through some of this without having to go through everything, y'all. One thing you want to realize, and I'm gonna give you some of the tips. These are some of the tips. Let me see if I can go through this. These are the 5 basic areas that you need to start measuring your life. So y'all can write these down, or if you join my group, I'm gonna download these and send them to you. The first is health, right? Health is the first way you need to start measuring or determining your metrics in your health. And I'm going to break that down. The second one is in your money and your career. Those are the things you need to have yardsticks for, your money and your career, okay? The next one is in your closest relationships. What kind of relationships you got? You got money, but you're lonely. You ain't got no friends. You ain't got nobody. You just got money, but that's it, okay? Your closest relationships. The next one is how well you control your mind and your thoughts and your feelings, okay? So I'll say those again because I got so many papers here. The first one is your health. I don't care what nobody says, and trust me, most of us don't get this until we get old and start having health issues. But your health is going to be your first line of defense. Your health. When you start measuring stuff, you got to take health into account. If you want to live really happy, successful lives, these are strategies now to build your life. The second one, I'll say it again, is, let me make sure I got these in the right order here. Yeah, and health, then we go into money and career. Those are kind of together. Then we go into your closest relationships. And then we go into controlling your mind and your thoughts and your feelings. Okay, so let me break these down a little bit for you. Okay, because it was so much on this, y'all. I really had to condense this. I'd have been 5 hours. This would have been like a online school class or something, right? So when we talk about how you want to start measuring for your personal life, this says, I'm going to read this real quick. Only real, actionable metrics can help you figure out which approaches lead to what you want the fastest, and which approaches can even bring setbacks or can even cause setbacks in your personal life. When you start having a measuring stick, the one thing I will tell you, and I'm not the only one that says this, it is the truth. You need someone in your life. Call them a coach, call them a mentor, call them whatever you want to call them. Every single person needs to have someone in their life that is where they believe they're trying to go, that you can actually connect yourself to. That means you got to find that person. If they're not there, that means you may have to join some organizations. You may have to be a part of some groups. They got all kind of social stuff now, meetups and organizations. You're going to have to find someone, a coach. I got a coach. You're going to have to find someone that you can allow to help you with making sure that the yardstick you're choosing is based off of your true identity and will lead you to true success. So that's the first thing. You got to get yourself a mentor or a coach or somebody that you can actually reach out to from time to time and be able to get some real honest answers and feedback that does not care about hurting your feelings, okay? That is the first thing. Then we want to talk about, this is something that is necessary. In order to do this, in order to even listen to someone else, or even to accept, even sometimes you just happen to read stuff and it's like, oh, okay, I think that's talking to me. You have to be in an experimentation frame of life that we call search mode. That means you have to be at a station in life where you really want to be that person. You really want to be the person that you're trying to get to. You can't just do the work, because you can how do you think people that end up rich, lottery winners, inheritances, whatever, end up broke? Because nothing about who they are changed. They just came into some money. They just acquired something through whatever means, but nothing about the way they think about what they have or what they do. Nothing about, they didn't know how to do the work. They didn't know how to keep, nothing about them changed. So they're not going to stay the same. They're going to lose everything they acquired if you don't learn or have the intellectual experience on what it requires to be this person. That means everything sometimes that you learned when you were a kid no longer works for you. That means all of how it used to be don't matter necessarily anymore. How we used to do it doesn't matter necessarily anymore. You have to be willing to do some major overhauling and go into search mode so you can be this person and therefore acquire the skill set, the temperament, the patience, all of this that is going to help you to sustain wherever you end up, okay? These are some of the reasons, listen to this, why you don't want to fall into vanity mode, which is what the world wants you to do. That's why they throw all these images out there at you. You want to be like Mike. Michael, I love me some Michael Jordan. And I got big dreams, y'all. But let's be real. Everybody ain't gonna be Michael Jordan. I don't care how hard you work. I don't care how much you aspire to be this amazing basketball player. And I'm not saying if this is what you want to do, I'm not saying be the very best that you can be. And he definitely isn't a bad yardstick to measure yourself up against. So even LeBron James. But you have to realize that Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, I'm a basketball fan, as you can see. These guys were who they are and are what they are for more reasons than just the fact they could dribble a ball. There was some disciplines. There was some life changes. There was some things they had to refrain from and some ways of thinking they had to shift themselves into. There were some changes, even from young on, that they had to be in order to be these great athletes that'll go into the history, or they're in the history books. They had to be different people. So even if you want to get to that talent level, are you willing to be the person that they are? Okay, because that takes a whole nother set of something. So these are the things I want you to avoid, because this is what the world will have you doing. I already talked about looking rich when you got a ton of debt. You look like $1 million, but you got debt up to your eyeballs. You got stuff about to get cut off. But you look good, but you look rich, okay? You want to avoid that. You don't want you and your family to smile. We all on the picture. It's a beautiful portrait, but we can't stand each other. Soon as the camera snaps, everybody go their own way. Pick up their phone. Don't even speak to each other. Don't even look at each other. Don't want to deal with each other. Do you want to be that? Do you want to be that family that y'all spend no time trying to work out these things or connect, but you look good on the picture? The Christmas photo is off the chain. And I say that because I saw that online. I saw that on Facebook. Every Christmas, these families have their Christmas shots and they just look so happy. But are they really? Are they really happy? Okay. Vanity will say, let's just look the part. Let's fake it till we make it. No. We don't want to fake it till we make it. We want to make it. And then we don't have to fake it. And I say, if your family ain't what it is, don't take the picture. We don't need the picture right now. We need, instead of us spending 3 hours at the photographer, maybe we need to go to a counseling session for 3 hours. Maybe we need to go there and work this thing out. Or maybe we need to just sit for 3 hours and just talk to each other instead of taking this fake photo that ain't none of it how it really is. Maybe that's what we need to think about, okay? Don't want to scale or show a number as low as possible, but be really fit. That means even though the scale say you weigh 205, you like, girl, I weigh 160. How many of y'all tell the truth on your driver's license when they ask you how much you weigh? You put what you want to weigh. You didn't put what you actually weighed. You put your aspiration weight down on your driver's license or whatever you got to put your weight on. You didn't put the real number, because that ain't really what. Putting the real number would have made you say, this, when I do my next driver's license, is what I don't want on there. Putting a fake number just made you say, whatever. Because every time you look at it, it say you weigh 165, but you really weigh 205. See, we got to put these real numbers in our face. We got to put the real facts in our faces, because it'll make us change some stuff, right? You don't want to gossip in a bar about world news and happening, thinking you smart. You actually want to read a book a week and improve your knowledge and competency level. Have y'all ever been around those people who want to sound really smart? You know, the one thing I teach my people that work for me, that teach for me, when you get on stage, the one thing I don't want you to do is I don't want you to talk about anything that you really don't know about, because you're going to get yourself jammed up. You start talking about stuff you don't know about, you go mess around and have somebody out in this audience that really does know something about it, and they're going to get excited, and then they're going to get to asking you these questions, and you're going to be like, I don't know. Stick to what you know, and as you grow in your life, you're going to have to read and be engaged in more intellectual exercises, whether it's listening to a YouTube. If you like YouTube, fine. Listen to stuff on YouTube that is giving you more of an intellectual experience and not just an emotional experience. I love listening to YouTube when they're doing money stuff, and I do it all the time. I love it. I love the money videos and, videos that are teaching you some stuff, more teaching videos. All right. These are things that you want to do. Also, you want to avoid. You don't want to just have a job, but you want to have a job that you love and make a good living out of it. You know, in today's society, I see, or today's times, I see more people switching careers than I ever have. And I get really excited about it. They be like, girl, I hated this job for 20 years. And I finally got the courage to quit and go into what I really love and this, and that, and the other, because I was not going to live another 20 years and hate getting up going to work every day. Kudos to you. Okay? Do the work. Learn what you need to learn. Now, I'm telling y'all, for all of y'all that's used to getting a check, that's used to going somewhere and somebody giving you a check, and now you want to be an entrepreneur, now you want to be the person that you got to create the system, work the system, and make sure you get paid. It's a whole different mindset, y'all, because you have gotten conditioned that when you clock hours, you get a check. When you show up, you get a check. Now you're in the world of entrepreneurs where you don't get paid, not even sometime when you produce. You got to produce over and over and over again, and then maybe you'll get your just due. So it's a whole different mindset. So when I say if you used to getting a check, you didn't quit your job, and now you got to make your money a whole nother kind of way, oh, you're going to have to be somebody totally different. You're going to have to recondition yourself to know that my money don't come just because I showed up. It don't come just because I punched the clock. That's not how I work no more. You really going to have to be somebody else, okay? So remember that. These, again, the 5 basic areas we should measure regularly, okay? Because I'm going to keep going because it's a lot. Y'all, please share this. Share, because I want people to get this. I want people to understand why you run around here trying to measure yourself up to the wrong people, the wrong stuff. You keep ending up disappointed. It's going to keep happening until you're old and gray. I'm 50. It'll be happening past 50, 60, 70. You still realize you wasted your life trying to measure up to something that was never who you were, okay? So your health. These are the things. I'm going to say these real quick because I'm running out of time here. You need to always know your potential progress. It's like the first of the year now. Everybody needs to go get a checkup. Whatever your insurance or your money can afford, if you got clinics that'll do stuff for free, diabetes checkup, heart checkup, regular progress, see if you have any potentials for any illnesses. Know what your blood tests are. So do blood tests. I still don't even remember what my blood type is. So I got to learn that too. Body composition, fat percentage to your body, aerobic endurance. And I ain't talking about to look good. I'm talking about to be healthy. I just ordered me a running. It's this whole new running elliptical. It looks like you running in the air. It's different. I ain't never seen this piece of equipment before. I said, Lord, it looked like because I was a runner for years. And I had to stop because I messed up my hip in a car accident. So I can't run on pavement because the pain is excruciating. But I like the simulation of running, right? So I just ordered it. Because I actually like being at home. I'm a homebody. I got gym memberships. You know how we all got them gym memberships we've been paying for years. I ain't seen the gym. I'm not going to do that no more. I'm going to cut that, work out at home. I don't have no problem with that. So I just ordered my equipment. All right. Muscular endurance. See how strong you are as you get older. It ain't just about looking good. It's about you having you can actually lift some stuff. It's about when you sit down for 5 minutes, not getting up and take an hour to straighten out. Flexibility. Core strength. These are the things that as you endure your health, and let me say this to all my working professionals that work 12 hours or more a day. You know what I'm really happy about is that they have all these food services now, like Freshly and all these other things now, where instead of us eating garbage every day, which the food is killing, food is 70% of the battle. Instead of us killing ourselves eating all this bad food, we could take some of that money, buy into these delivery services that deliver. It may not be the best, but it's better than what you're eating now. I have actually in my business, I got a full kitchen. I can cook a whole Thanksgiving dinner, and it's only in not much more square feet than what I'm sitting right now. We have got to start doing things. We got to start eating better, y'all. Trust me. I remember when I was in the shop 17 hours a day, I was eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snack, fast food, and not fast food, but out, because I really don't like, I've never really loved fast food. So here I am, every time I spend money, it's $30. So not only am I killing myself with food that still was not the best food, but I'm also going broke doing it. So we got to also think about the financial aspect of the food that we're eating and how that will correlate to the health of our body. So health is the first thing. Money and career. These are the two categories that you have to also measure. Actually measure that. Personal income. Our personal income. How much money are we making? And more so, are we keeping? You know what? If you ain't got no problem working, most of us in my industry, we hustlers. We die-hard hustlers. We ain't got no problem working. We ain't got no problem putting hours in. We ain't got no problems with that. But man, when I ask them, what does it look like when the smoke clears? We have no clue. We don't know. We make it. I have literally done financial assessments for people making $200,000-$300,000 a year. They have no clue where it is. I don't know where that money is. I don't have a clue because we just spend, and we don't know where it's at. We don't even know the COGS, or what we call the cost of goods and services. We don't even know out of this dollar amount. We told this client $100. You didn't actually make $100 because you got to take out products. You got to pay rent. You got to take out this. You got to take out that. So what is it at the end? What is the net? Not the gross. And some of y'all living based off of gross. And that's why we get ourselves in a problem. But money and career, personal net worth. How much do you own? How many assets do you have? If you don't have none, what are you doing to start acquiring? What are real assets? What are they? I have a whole Facebook group. I'll be doing a video for them next year, Lord have mercy, tonight. I'll be doing a video for them. I do one video a month, and the video is like a killer video on money. It's called Money Does Matter. It's a Facebook membership group. If you all are interested, you can hit me up via Messenger. Just message me and say, I'm interested in information on how to get into the Facebook Money Does Matter group. I go through all this stuff. We got to understand this. And I know that in getting you to understand your money, just like it did for me, it made me face the realities of everything in my life. Because once you get honest with money, you can't lie to yourself about other stuff. It's impossible because you start becoming a different person that wants to live authentically. We talking about keeping it real. How many of us are really keeping it real? We ain't keeping it real. We living fake lives is what we're doing, okay? Then we get into career. Besides money, career is also an area in life where we got to have good metrics for. How much you earn, you got to think about I've been doing what I've done for 32 and a half years. It'll be, actually, no, 31 and a half. It'll be 32. February 28th will be 32 years for me to the date. And I'm talking about professionally. I ain't talking about, look, I've been doing hair since 15. I don't want to hear that. I'm talking about after I got a license and worked in, and actually I got a license before that. But I started in my first salon February 28, 1988, 32 years ago. I want you all to understand that if you find yourself, I don't care what you do really, but if you still got 5 clients and you've been doing hair 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, if you still got a restaurant, if you still got a church, and you still got the only 5 members that started with you, I don't care what you have, what you do as a job. If you find yourself not growing, not being in a different position from when you started to now, the problem is you. Something is wrong. You are not understanding, not learning how to grow, how to scale, how to leverage. Somewhere along the line, you got to go back to the drawing board and you got to be honest and say, what am I not doing? What is it that I need to learn? Because I am awed by some of the people that I coach. And this is what the next one, your position in your company, public influence, social media influence, how much you enjoy your work, the number of professional contacts or connections you've made. If you've been doing something for 5 years and you have not grown in any of these areas, money, position, public influence, that means how many people you actually are changing or influencing in their lives, social media influence, and we live in a world you cannot have a business or almost a life without it. How much you enjoy. Do you still love it? Or do you hate getting up every day going there? And how many number of professional connections you make? How many people, if you get in a jam, if you need some help, can you actually pick up your phone or text or email and say, can you help me out in this situation? I'm doing this conference. I'm doing this show. I'm doing this class and I need some help. And they'll do it and won't ask you for no money. How many of these things have changed from the day you started to the day you decide to make these shifts? 5 years, 10 years. If you find yourself, you haven't acquired, none of this has changed, the problem is you. The problem is you. So you need to go back and do some real inventory. Look, I got people steady calling me, y'all. You need to go back and do some real inventory on what all of this means, guys. Okay? Then we talk about your closest relationships. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I'm a workaholic, so I struggle here. I do. I got to do better. I think I told you all, you've been watching me for a couple weeks now. This whole year, 2020 for me is about connections. I got them. but I got to give them more time. I got to spend more time with them. So it talked about the quality and depth of every relationship depends primarily on this: the number of hours you spend with that person. Now, we know you can have a video chat if somebody lives in another state, another country. It doesn't necessarily mean physically. Because we know that if you have a mom or a dad or cousins or friends that don't live in the same state, we know that's not physically possible all the time. But it just says spending hours enjoying positive, playful emotions. This is what it goes into. You get together, you plan stuff, you create things together, you follow common goals, you join organizations together, you do things you both love, you relax together. That means we unwind, we do nothing. And for those of us in intimate relationships, sex is a part of that. And a lot of us, me included, struggle in all these areas as far as making them priorities. And it talks about here, measuring how you spend your time in these areas will also show you where your priorities and your values are. That's just what it is. And if you want to fix it, the first thing you got to do while you in search mode is be honest about it. And you got to say, you know what? Let me maybe find someone or something that I can use as my measuring stick to be the goal. If it's a family and you know this family. I ain't talking about the ones that smile on the picture. And you want your family to be more like that. Okay, what did you all do? How is it that you all actually seem to have this real close thing? Ask them. People don't mind telling. When people have been successful at stuff, they usually don't mind telling you. Like, look at what we had to do. Because they'll tell you it wasn't always like this, okay? This is what we have to do, okay? Then I'm going to go into these other ones. Controlling your mind. This is where, when they talk about an idle mind is the devil's workshop, it's the truth. The quality of your life, success, and how successful you are strongly depends on whether you control your thoughts and the things that you feel. This is talking about feelings and emotions. Those of you all that have low EQs, that means emotional intelligences. You are reactive instead of proactive. You let your emotions manage you, which Joyce Myers has old book on managing your emotions. You let things just take over and have you doing stupid stuff and crazy stuff. You're going to struggle. You have to get control of your thoughts. And this only comes through meditation, reading, not just the Bible, but reading books on how to control that. This comes with you recognizing that you're reactive and coming up with things where, remember, Bad Boys is coming out. I can't wait to see it. And remember the little thing Martin with Woosah? I mean, I don't care what you got to do. Woosah, I don't care what you got to do. You got to come up with things that will help you control your thoughts, things that will help you control what you want to say. You have to be able to get a grip on that, or you're going to find yourself causing yourself more harm than good. And subsequently, you're going to end up in bad situations. And, once you say stuff, you can't take it back. The more your mind controls you, the more negative thoughts this usually means. When your mind controls you and has you doing whatever, I told you last week when we were talking, what is a statement Tony Robbins uses all the time? Where your attention flows, where your attention goes, your energy will follow. That means if your mind is just harping, just thinking about somebody that made me mad, or I can't stand this, or whatever, or you hate your job, and your energy, your body language, you just get tired all of a sudden. You will start to react based off of these thoughts that are controlling you. All right? The more negative thoughts, the lower you will find your actual quality of life. It is the truth. You can talk yourself or think yourself into depressive situations, and these are things that we have to fight. There are many. I didn't have time to go through all of the mechanisms of controlling this, but this is, if you find yourself just running off with stuff and you know it ain't right, I don't care if that means you got to sit on somebody's couch. I don't care what you got to do. I don't care if you got to start reading stuff, whatever, meditation, yoga. I don't care what. It's 1,000 things you can do. But the first thing you have to be willing to do is recognize that you have a problem in this area. Because can't nobody do nothing for you until you first recognize it. Okay? Taking your feelings into account. Now, this is interesting. The best way to give more attention to your feelings is by observing them. By literally just acknowledging that they exist. and understanding them as well as managing them. Now, let me tell you, I am a little different with this. I believe that we have to manage our thoughts, but I also believe that God, as Joyce Meyer says, if God didn't want us to cry, he would not have given us tear ducts. I believe I was talking to my mother-in-law actually the other day, and she was talking about somebody she knows, and they lost their husband. It's the first, I guess, holiday without their husband, and they were crying, and you know, you hate to see people cry. So the first thing she said to them was, don't cry. And you know what I told her? I said, no. They need to cry. They need to get it out. See, because you got to still be careful. The Bible talks about be angry, but sin not. He didn't say don't get angry. He just said you got to manage how you react to anger. Anger lets you know something is not right. Crying and these feelings that God gave us lets us know that something needs to be changed and something needs to be fixed. I don't believe in people holding in everything, because now you're ticking time bombs. Now you're like these people going around here shooting up the mall and shooting up the movie theater because they didn't deal with those emotions. You have to acknowledge that you sad for a real reason. You supposed to be sad. You might need to cry. You need to plenish. You need to get that out. You need to get it out and deal with it. When I was going through some of the worst times of my life, and I'll never forget it, I call it my 7 years of consecration, where everything was just awful. And it was legitimately awful. I remember this was the time when I really had to learn how to manage my emotions. But this is what a saying that I came up with that allowed me to work through this. People were always accustomed to asking me stuff. Where should I go? How should I do this? I've been in this position all my life. So it was destiny for me to end up being in a coaching, mentoring position. But I remember in this cycle, when it was a day I woke up, it just wasn't a good day. I wasn't cussing nobody out, but I knew my burdens and my emotions and the things that I had were weighing heavy on me this time. And I didn't want to lash out at nobody. So what I would do is, if I didn't have to go places, I would, not in a depression mode, I would say, you know what, I'm gonna chill today. I'm gonna read. And when people would call me, text me, email me, these are the words I would tell them. Today is not the best day for me, and I'm working through that. But today, I only got enough for me. I would tell them that. I can't help you today. Maybe tomorrow. But today, all I got is enough for me. I knew I needed to reserve my energy to keep myself up, to hold myself up, to make sure that I was straight and I wasn't letting my emotions take over me and do this and that. And that's why pastors go on sabbaticals, because you done got people that they've drained you. And you got to know, part of really taking inventory of your feelings is knowing when you need to go. Like Jesus, what did he do? He went up on the top of the mount, away from the disciples. He needed to go think. He needed to go reflect. He needed to go process some stuff. You got to know when you need to unplug. You got to know that. Or you start japping out, your emotions start getting the best of you, start doing stuff you now got to go back and apologize for. But the only way you can do this is while you're in search mode, you also have to become very self-aware. You have to self-reflect. You have to learn your why. You have to learn who you are, what you are. Today ain't the day, and so I don't react in a way that I'm feeling right now. I don't want that to control me. I'm gonna go sit over here for a minute, and I'm gonna just kind of get myself together. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna go do yoga. I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna study. I don't care. It's a bunch of things you can do, but this is what you got to do. And when it comes to these measuring or things that you need to measure your yardstick for, the thing that I want to leave with you all, we overtime. The thing that I want to leave more than anything is you cannot measure your life and God's purpose for your life based off of someone else that is not part of your journey. You cannot do it. We all need something to look at and grab. And it's like going in the grocery store. You a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That is how we become these complex beings. But before you can really learn who you need to measure up to, you need to find your why. You need to start with why. That's what, those are two of Simon Sinek's books that I had somebody put up here earlier. And for those of you all that are leaders, he also writes another book. I've read all of them numerous times. It's called Leaders Eat Last. You need to learn now that maybe you know your why. Maybe you figured that out and now you're in this leadership position. And now you have to figure out as a leader, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because now the strategy of your life has shifted. Because as a leader now, it ain't just about you. It's about the people you lead, okay? So that's all I'm going to say today, y'all. Because I think a lot of us are measuring our lives up to the wrong yardstick. Get the books. Read the books if you want. Please share this. Share with every group, every person. If you got some direct people you want to tag, if you got some people you want to send it directly to their messenger, send it, guys. Because I see this, especially with young people. They so lost because they trying to measure like this. They trying to be like this one and trying to be like that one. And they don't know what they want to be. So then they do nothing. Then they just say, I'm just ain't going to do nothing because I don't know if I want to be like her. And they put, and it ain't just young people, but you putting all your stock into people that maybe you could take a little from them, but that ain't who you really trying to be. I've had companies offer me stupid amounts of money to be a part of stuff. I ain't with it. I told my husband, one company offered me $250K. They said, we just want you, this for 6 months, y'all. But everything they were about was not what I was about. And I didn't even have to think about it. I said, no, I ain't doing that. I have walked out of corporate meetings when people start going a direction. I said, oh, no. That I don't even want to be a part of that. I have walked away from tables at a personal event where people were talking about stuff and people that I didn't want to be a part of. I got to go to the bathroom. Let me go to the bathroom. When you start figuring out who you are, what you're about, what you're not about, you will then, when I talk about creating your culture, you will protect your ears, you will protect your mind, you will make it clear what side your bread is buttered on. People will know who you're about. And let me tell you what becomes beautiful is once people learn more and more what you're about, they only come to you with certain stuff. They're like, no, because she ain't going to do that. They already know. That's not who you are. So I want to challenge you all to figure that out. Once you figure that out, find yourself a coach. I coach. You can go on knowledgebynikki.com. Send me something in the email if you want. Or you can message me directly on Messenger. I would love to help you out. If I can't help you, I'm honest. I stay in my lane. I'll be like, nah, you need some help that I don't provide. But I'll send you somewhere. Are y'all with me? Okay, I got to go, y'all. We overtime. Have a wonderful, wonderful 2020. It's going to be a wonderful new year. Come up. I told y'all, come up with 3 things. I told y'all that last week. Go join my community. Join my community. You would get all the stuff I talked about from what to do. And I gave you real assignments. And I'm out, y'all, because I'm sleepy. I think I'm going to take a nap. I've been up since 4. And then I got to do real work, y'all. I got coaching calls all day. All right? So deuces. I'll see y'all later. I'm out. Happy New Year.